So let's look at the acquisitions, because the acquisitions do tell a story. Twitter stock has obviously done well. And some incomplete deals, it was reported they were in talks with Discord and Clubhouse. Those deals fell through, according to sources. Clubhouse may have raised that $4 billion. That might have been a preemptive funding by Andreessen Horowitz and others because they got a serious offer. So I would say maybe Twitter offered them $2 or $3 billion for Clubhouse, which is insane. But, such is the industry. When something breaks out and gets escape velocity, it becomes worth a lot. We can talk about that on another episode. But the venture capitalists probably said, hey, here's $100 million. You can each take 10, 20 million off the table. We'll buy some shares from the founders to keep you in the game as an independent company. That'll probably turn out to be a mistake. If they got an offer of 3 or 4 billion, usually I'd say go long. But in this situation where everybody's building Clubhouse into Slack, it's being built into LinkedIn, it's being built into Facebook, everybody's basically announced that they're going to build this in as a feature. I think Clubhouse is going to be ultimately worth less than the $4 billion it's worth today. That's just my personal belief. And I'm not saying that to ride the founders or anything, or because I wasn't able to invest in it. It's just that I've never seen the replication of a product like this quick. And in fact, most people say the Clubhouse copied it from Discord. I don't know if that's actually true, but many people have told me that was where the inspiration was. So, but they did buy Breaker, which was a podcasting app that was very interesting. Breaker relied on the Twitter feed, the Twitter social graph, to tell you what your friends were listening to in terms of podcasts. It was really well done. It wasn't my default player. My default player is the Apple one and Overcast, because I like the power user features in Overcast, and I like Apple's UI. Sometimes I'll use Spotify, but I'm just kind of been trained to use the other two. They all seem to have parity. And so I believe what they're going to do with this podcast player Breaker is they're going to combine the concept of spaces with podcasting inside of Twitter and then let you pay for it. So that's probably the grand plan. You do a Twitter space, you record it, and then it's available for pay on the replay. So free live, pay on the replay. At least that's what I would do. They bought Owayno back in January of 2021 for an undisclosed amount. It's a full-service creative agency that previously worked with Twitter. And the why in the Aqua hire here is to accelerate the quality and execution of Twitter's product experience, according to the chief design officer, Dantley Davis. So who knows what that is about? It could just be talent. This, founder wrote a funny tweet now, about that edit button, Jack. So obviously, maybe he's going to be designing, all these new features and creating the Twitter singularity in the content space. They bought Drivescale back in January 25th for an undisclosed amount. And that's a server company that optimized computing, storage, and network fabric. Again, that was an acqui-hire to accelerate their app development. That happens all the time in the industry. Company runs out of money, didn't get to scale. Investors are, kind of ready to sell it. The team is ready to go work somewhere else. The big one, I think, one of the big ones is Revue, REVUE, which is a Substack killer. And it allows you to do newsletter subscription services. So people who write tweet storms now get prompted, hey, check out Revue. And so I think this is going to be quite material. I would consider putting, an email newsletter onto Twitter if it made it easier to manage, because I'm constantly having Twitter users and I'm forwarding them over to MailChimp or whatever, or a type form. They acquired Reshuffle back in March of 2021. It's an API integration platform. And they called it a strategic acqui-hire, and they're going to shut down Reshuffle and add those people to Twitter's API team. Twitter has had a love-hate relationship with the API. They gave everybody API access. People abused it. People created mass confusion by creating Twitter clients. They redid that. They shut it down. They deprecated apps access. Now they want to do a 2.0 API. It's just a very hard thing to do, because when you have these APIs, you create competitors like Clubhouse and Substack, etc., and then you may want to go into that business, and now they've siphoned off your users, and you basically have enabled downstream competitors, which is why Zuckerberg doesn't have APIs anymore. And a company we invested in, Scroll, was just acquired a couple weeks ago. And I think it's really interesting. Scroll was a subscription service that basically allowed users to read news and buy a subscription across many sites. And this is, one of either the siren song of founders or the Holy Grail. And I think this will be part of Twitter Blue. I think when you subscribe to Twitter Blue, maybe for, $8 a month, you'll get to read news stories natively inside of Twitter, just like Apple News, which I recently paid for. as part of my family plan. So now everybody in the family, when they go to Google News, gets to read it. And I really love this family plan stuff because I might not pay for Apple News otherwise, but if I'm like, it's going to be split between 2, 3, 4, 5 people, okay, kind of makes sense. Or, iCloud is, I get the 2 terabyte. Okay, now, I got 3 kids. We're dividing the cost, across 5 people. Just starts to work really well. And I think it's super powerful. And so you can follow Try Scroll on Twitter, and it gives them, basically, it just takes a lot of clutter out and it makes things really easy. You take out the ads. And I think this ad-free experience is going to be really neat when you're on Twitter and able to, just very simply read news stories, clean, fast, just like Apple News, maybe even preloaded. The news will be preloaded and cached, the top news. And so you look at that, acquisition spree from Breaker all the way down to Scroll. That's 6 acquisitions in the first 5 months of the year. It's a pretty acquisitive year.